What's up, guys? Today I'm gonna talk about discipline and how, in my opinion, discipline is dumb. So, do I tell you to be lazy and do nothing all day? No. But I also don't recommend following discipline or defining yourself as a person who is disciplined. Why? Because, in my opinion, there is a better tool. So, an example. So, I study game programming in Japan. And here we have a PHP class. Basically, PHP is programming. And I don't like this class. I don't have any interest in it whatsoever. So we don't really use PHP in our projects. And the teacher is also very boring. So overall, this class is very bad. Even worse, it's at 9 a.m. in the morning on a Saturday. So you don't want to go. And after that class, we have a game project class. So this class I actually like quite a lot. So in this class, we need to make games ourselves in 2 weeks in groups. And we get voted on who made the best game. So I enjoy this class because I like making games inside Unity and I'm competitive. So I want to get the most votes out of all the other teams. Also, I have responsibilities for the other team members, because if I don't do my work, the other team members are gonna get a bad grade together with me. And that's bad, right? So sometimes I decide to skip the PHP class. It's not always, but it's maybe like 3 times out of the year. So not that much. So on that particular day, I had a PHP test. And so I decided to skip the class because I want to focus on my game project class, where I had a deadline and I still needed to finish my project. And I can't do that in PHP class. Why? Because I got a Mac and the Win SCP software doesn't work on my Mac. So I have to use a school computer. And that means I cannot work in that class on my own game project. So I thought the grades work like this. 1/3 attendance, 1/3 the classwork, so the websites you make during class, and 1/3 the final 2 tests. That's how I thought the PHP class works. I was wrong. Actually, attendance matters not much at all, almost none at all. Classwork is not even counted. So it doesn't matter what you make, what type of websites you make during the class, the teacher is not even gonna look at it. The only thing that really matters, 80 to 90% is the final grade, is these 2 tests. So all of this is unnecessary. You only need to focus on this. And I was mistaken because you cannot retake the test and I skipped it. So the teacher gave me 0 points and I basically failed the class. So what was my solution as a result of this? So I always try to fix myself and fix my personality to adjust, because I actually want to excel at life and become better, right? So I looked at disciplined characters in fiction, basically the kind of characters that are always on time, that study, that train hard, that never cheat, never break the rules. In fiction, these type of characters always excel at life, right? They always win at life. So my logic was, basically, if I become like that, I'm gonna improve and I'm never gonna make mistakes ever again, right? I'm never gonna skip PHP class ever again. I'm gonna study properly, read books, all that good stuff, right? So I tried to define myself as this. I am the type of person who is always disciplined. I was wrong. So why was I wrong? Basically, the mistake was that if you define yourself as a disciplined person, you actually make your life worse. And here's why. Basically, the main problem is you lose track of your goal. So basically, my goal at that time was to earn money and have good looks. It basically pretty much is still my goal. I define it a bit different right now, but that's besides the point. Basically, just keep in mind that my goal is right now this: earn money, have good looks. So why is this stupid? Well, first of all, it's a waste of time. Discipline is a waste of time, and it results in stupid actions. So what does it mean? Waste of time basically means, like, imagine I was like super disciplined, going to the gym almost every day. So I walk home, so I go home from the gym, and usually I take the train here in Tokyo. But at this time I was thinking, why take the train? Isn't taking the train cheating? So isn't it smarter to walk home? Because you train your legs. And this is completely stupid, right? Because you walk home 30 to 40 minutes and it's a huge waste of time. Why? Because isn't my goal to have good looks? How is gonna walking home or training my legs by walking helping with that? It is not. It's just a waste of time. But that's what you do when you follow discipline or you define yourself as a person who's always disciplined. Basically, you come up with stuff that makes no sense, but it is disciplined. It would be more disciplined to walk home and not take the train, because the train is cheating. And the second thing is results in stupid actions. Imagine, so at the time, I was becoming the type of person that attended every class, studied like crazy, and tried to get as much attendance and good grades as possible. But imagine like this. Imagine at the end of the year, I graduate and I have the best grades and the best attendance. What then? Well, I live in Japan, so the next step would be to get a job in Japan, right? But is that a smart choice for my goal to earn money? So earning money for me means not like minimum wage, it means like making as much money as possible. Do you make as much money as possible working in a company in Japan as a salaryman? Absolutely not. You're more likely to work your whole life, work 40 to 50 years and earn very, very little money. And if you know anything about Japan, their work is really tough. Basically, you have to overwork and you're not getting paid for this overwork. And then inside the company, as someone who defines themselves as a disciplined person, wouldn't I just work hard there too? No, I would like take overtime and I wouldn't even want to get paid for it because I'm just that disciplined. Would I quit my own job to start my own company? No, that's not discipline. That's cheating, right? The disciplined thing would be to continue working and do nothing but work. And you can see how stupid this is. So that clearly does not follow my goal at all. Basically, I would waste my time. I would waste away my goals just by basically thinking I'm disciplined and becoming more disciplined. So you probably think you can do both, right? Like, it's not bad to work hard in your job and then still start a business after. Imagine working 10 to 12 hours in Japan and then coming home and trying to start your own business or going to the gym. Basically, you won't. Discipline becomes your life and your life is stupid. So what do I recommend you should do instead? I recommend logic. So the real solution and the real tool is logic. So what is logic? Logic, as I define it, is basically having a goal and then doing what is smartest toward the goal. That is logic. So, for example, instead of walking home from the gym, you take the train and then you spend the time you saved on working on, for example, this YouTube channel to make some money. Or instead of going for the best grades and getting a job in Japan, instead you build your own business. And with your own business, you're probably more likely to make money than as a salaryman in Japan. So how would I solve the PHP example? So let's first of all start with what would have been the most logical thing to do, the most smartest thing. Well, I learned that attendance does not matter. So actually you can skip as much as you want. It does not really matter that much for the final grade. Classwork also does not matter at all. Like, the teacher is not gonna look even at what you make in class, so you don't even have to save it technically. The only thing that matters are these two tests. They make up 80 to 90% of your grade. So what should you do? You can skip class, but you must attend these two tests at all costs. This is the most important thing. And then the other thing, that is the smartest thing to do, the most logical thing to do, would be to cheat using AI during these tests. Why? Because discipline makes you do a lot of unnecessary stuff, but it makes you not cheat. So I follow game theory, and game theory basically means like seeing the world as a game, and the way you excel at games is by cheating. So that must mean at life you also excel by cheating. So If you never cheat and you always do everything properly and you work hard and disciplined, how are you gonna end up? You're probably gonna end up as this, a Japanese salaryman slave. You're just gonna work like your whole life, 40 to 50 years. You're gonna have unpaid overtime. You're gonna like sacrifice your family and your dreams just for the company. That's how you're gonna end up, probably. And it's a bad life, right? You don't want to live like that. Nobody wants to live like that. So the way you actually excel at life is by cheating. You know, it's just simple logic, it's game theory. How do you excel at life? You cheat. So what would have been the smartest thing to do? Cheat at my test. Like the teacher is not even looking, he's not even checking. That guy, he sits at his own table and he just does his own thing the whole class. Even doing the test, it's like you have your own computer and you have Copilot open and he doesn't care. So why wouldn't you cheat? Why would you then say to yourself, oh, I'm disciplined. It's not right cheating. Why? If he doesn't check and if it's gonna improve your grade without you having to study, why wouldn't you do it? So if you cheat and if you skip class, what's gonna happen? Well, you're gonna get the best grades because these two tests matter and you can easily cheat at these two tests, and you never have to attend class and spend the time working on your own projects, making money or going to the gym. So this all sounds very bad, right? But that's the world we live in. If you're disciplined and you work hard your whole life, you're probably gonna end up as a Japanese salaryman. You're gonna end up having a horrible life where you spend every day working hard, never cheating, never doing what you want to do. But if you cheat and trick and use logic, you can actually excel at life. And if you don't believe me, just look at who is rich. Look at who is in power right now. Do you think these people, they follow the rules and they never cheat and they just do what is right and work hard every day? No. I think these people are the biggest cheaters and they do not follow discipline, but they follow cold logic. And if you want to excel in life, I think you also have to follow cold logic. And let me finish this video by saying this. So in my time, while I was disciplined, while I was like not cheating, I never focused so much or worked so hard on my goals as right now by just following logic, by just admitting to be a cheater and just doing what is best, doing what is smartest for my goal. Before, I never worked as hard, even when I define myself as a disciplined person. Only when I understand that it's all logic, I started working hard. And I started to basically cut away everything that is not part of my goal. I think that's very important. So that's basically the video. Let me know what you think. Maybe a lot of you probably don't agree with this, but I think if you don't agree with this, you're gonna become this. That's just my own opinion. But that's the video. Like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.